Here are 12 spiritual benefits of fasting that should push you to fast or carry on your fast right to the end. And it's important that you understand that though we have a list of 12 here, indeed there are just 3 main benefits of fasting, and you can extrapolate countless other benefits from these. Remember, fasting is subjecting your flesh and giving up the pleasures of the flesh so that you can spend time with God and grow spiritually closer towards Him. And therefore, without further ado, number 1 benefit of fasting is that it draws you closer to God as you spend more time with God. James 4 verse 8 says, "Draw near to God and He will draw near to you." And verse 10 says, "Humble yourselves and He will lift you up." So once you engage fasting, humbling yourself in fasting and prayer towards God, God automatically lifts you to His spiritual level where you are more intimate with God. Number 2 main is that it subdues the flesh and its influence over us. Romans 8:13, "For if you live according to the flesh, you will die, but by the Spirit you put to death the deeds of the body, you will live." Sin, addiction, the lust of the flesh, the pride of life, the lust of the eyes, all these are one of the major challenges of the 21st century believer, and fasting stands to give you victory over the flesh and all that it comes with. And the third most important is that fasting declutters the believer from the things of this world. Remember, you're giving up the pleasures of the flesh so that you can go intimate with God. So automatically you're decluttering yourself of food, social media, TV, Netflix, friends, and all these baggages that are weighing on you from experiencing the fullness of God. Hebrews 12 verse 1, "Therefore, since we are surrounded by such a great cloud of witnesses, note, let us throw off every encumbrance, every weight, and the sin that so easily entangles us, and let us run with endurance the race that is set before us." So remember, you have to throw off the weight. And this weight are all the numerous things our flesh takes pleasure and delight in. And the challenge is there is only enough space in us. It's either we are filled with the things of the Spirit or we are cluttered with the things of the flesh. Therefore, once these 3 benefits are in place, we have drawn closer to God, we have subdued the flesh, and we have decluttered it from the things of the world through fasting. All amazing other benefits of fasting begin to show up. Number 4, prayer and fasting boosts our prayer lives. Many times we want to pray, but we find ourselves so heavy and feeling so lazy. It's because we are cluttered with all these things. So prayer and fasting boosts and enhances our prayer life. 5, prayer and fasting hones and sharpens your authority and influence in the spirit realm. You know that feeling of just feeling weak and tired after a heavy meal? Exactly, once we are filled with the heavy material things of the world, we are weak in the spirit realm. So prayer and fasting declutters us of all these things. And like a pipe that you have just decluttered of accumulated oil where water can flow through now at higher pressure, likewise the power and influence of God can flow through us. And so we find our prayers, even our declarations, more effective. Number 6, prayer and fasting helps us hear God clearer. See in the life of Daniel, when he wanted to inquire something from God, and even David, they engaged in fasting so that they can set aside and eliminate all the noise from work, from kids, from spouses, and everything going on around us so that we can hear God clearly. That is a benefit of prayer and fasting. Number 7 is a better understanding of scriptures and all what is happening around us. The biggest cause of misinterpretation of scriptures today in the world is because people are filled with the things of the world and the materialistic things around us. And so when we pick up scripture, we interpret it in tune and in line with the things we are already filled and cluttered with. But when we declutter ourselves in the place of prayer and fasting, we begin to see scripture in the light of the intention of the author himself, who is God. Number 8, prayer and fasting increases our spiritual sensitivity. Once we are spending more time with God and we are feeding and understanding His word better, we are spiritually sensitive, even as our prayer author is more effective. We become aware of the things that are happening around us even before they happen. And so prayer and fasting help us access divine direction. Number 9, prayer and fasting increases our love for God and the things that come from above and heaven. Let us face the fact that things in this world, the shiny, flashy things, they are really appealing and can be really distracting. But for us to focus and remember where we are coming from and where we are going, prayer and fasting help us refocus our love and our passion for God and the things from above. Colossians 3 verse 2, set your mind on things from above and not on earthly things. And for that, you need to first purge them out of your heart. And that's where fasting comes in. Number 10, prayer and fasting gives us access to revelations, to visions, to ideas, to dreams. So if you find yourself where God has given you an assignment and you're not clear on the next step, just like Daniel, engaging prayer and fasting gives us access to God's revelation and to new ideas on the next step to take. Number 11, prayer and fasting is effective in helping us purge ourselves from addictions and attachments of this world. Focusing on resisting temptation and avoiding addiction can be less effective as focusing on growing closer to God and increasing His love in our hearts. Automatically, these things of the flesh, these passions and desires, this lust, they automatically start dying and falling off by themselves. And the last but not the least, prayer and fasting gives us supernatural strength and healing to our body. So if we're feeling weak, we're feeling sick, or we just need renewed strength for the daily work God has given us, prayer and fasting is a good place to go on a continuous basis to renew strength. Remember, the scripture says, if the same spirit that raised Christ from the dead is living and dwelling in us, and if we go through prayer and fasting to fellowship more with that spirit, then that spirit is going to quicken our mortal bodies even more to be alive for God and for His work. So that's my list. I would like you to tell us in the comments below which of these benefits do you really want to experience during your fast right now. Go ahead and share it in the comments below and let it be your prayer and may it be answered. Thank you for watching this video. If you enjoyed it, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe. This video is proudly sponsored by our amazing family of Patreons. I want to say a big thank you to all our Patreons. You too can support this channel. The link is in the description below. Thank you for watching and see you in the next video.